Most people spend their lives becoming someone. Very few people ever become themselves. And that is the problem we're solving today. Welcome to XI Total Human Reset. My name is Masadi. Let's start with a simple observation. The people that's listening to this right now already know how to win. You know how to build companies, you know how to generate wealth, you know how to solve difficult problems. And yet something interesting happens to almost everyone who reaches that level. The strategies keep improving, but the human system running them starts breaking down. Burnout, overstimulation, health issues. Health issues appear out of nowhere. Relationships that become more complicated the more successful you become. Not because you did something wrong, but because success was built on an operating system that was never designed to sustain it. And that is what we're going to explore together over these next 2 days. Our world has become incredibly good at teaching people how to produce results. But it has almost no understanding of how the human system producing those results actually work. So we compensate. More strategy, more technology, more optimization. And many of you have tried it all. You know, you've studied the latest wealth strategies, worked with the best mindset coaches, experimented with biohacking, maybe spent a week at a retreat, or maybe deep in the jungle with psychedelics, searching for answers. And yet something still feels incomplete. You have the technology to measure everything about your body right now, right? Your sleep cycles, your stress levels. You've even been tracking your heart rate. But while you're measuring all those signals, something deeper is collapsing. You have the data of your decline, while your soul is still flatlining. And now you don't have the power to stop. You're still aging, right? You're still seeing the same diseases that affected your parents. And the burnout never fully disappears. So over these next 2 days, we're initiating something different. This isn't just another seminar. This is the soft launch of a research initiative. The question we're exploring is simple. Is it possible to change a person's life trajectory in just 2 days? By recalibrating the system that runs their perception, their energy, and decision making. Now, if we do that, imagine what becomes possible in 90 days. That research experiment is what we call Total Human Reset. So over the next 2 days, we're not going to teach you how to push harder. You've done that. We're going to show you how to upgrade the system doing the pushing. You don't need another strategy. You need a system reset. We've been sold a lie about improvement. We've been told that if we just find the right strategy, the right technology, the right hack, we'll finally crack the code. So we turn our lives into a constant search for the next external add-on. But look around you. Everyone has the strategies, and yet the collective system is crashing. Stress is at an all-time high. Clarity is at an all-time low. Why? It's because we've managed to track our symptoms, but not allow us to go deeper. And this is the key. We're trying to run 2026 software on a 1950 operating system. Think of it. The future of human performance isn't more strategy. it isn't more technology. It's expanded intelligence. It's unlocking the latent intelligence already inside you. That's the key. That latent intelligence waiting for the interference to move out of the way. So when you remove that interference, when that happens, you don't just do better, you are better. Your frequency stabilizes, your coherence increases, and the strategies you once struggled with become obvious. You know, success used to be about what you could accumulate. In the new frequency, success sustains you and survives you. Now, most of you are currently unsustainable. Got to be honest. Okay? We aren't here to give you more things to do, by the way. We're here to change the you that does them. The reset is here. And the expansion begins. Just tell me. We'll talk about wealth. So in these 2 days seminars, what we're going to be talking about the first 2 days, the first day is going to be wealth and health. We'll bring some highly intelligent individuals who are doing XI, health, and nutrition. And then tomorrow, we're going to be talking about relationships and spirituality. Now, talking about wealth, it's going to be very sensitive, by the way. Again, if I want those changes for you to reset you in 48 hours, or maybe even less, we have to push harder. So I'm going to ask some tough questions, okay? So stick with me. All right, so wealth. Success. Success used to be about what you could accumulate. In the new frequency, success sustains you and then survives you. Think of it. Today, XI reinvents the architecture of wealth. Wealth that doesn't collapse the person who built it. It starts with something most people never see. The hidden cost of success. Let me show you something. Most people think about life in terms of goals, but life actually behaves more like two things at the same time. A portfolio, if you will. Portfolio and a structure. Now something interesting happens when you start studying high performers. You know, over the last 14 years researching this, I noticed a pattern. Everybody talks about pillars. Pillars of success, pillars of leadership, pillars of ethics. And high achievers are actually very good at building those pillars. Now, they build them with incredible precision. You know, they use the latest strategies, the new performance tools, the best engineering thinking available. But there's one thing that most people never ever consider. The foundation that those pillars are built on. Think about it. Even the most beautifully engineered pillars will eventually fail if the ground underneath is unstable. And that's the part almost nobody studies. Not business schools, not leadership programs, not performance coaching. The human operating system is what's underneath those pillars. And when that foundation becomes unstable, things begin to happen. The pillars don't collapse immediately. At first, they just begin to lean. Now let me go deeper. Let me show you what that looks like. Just give me 1 second as I pull this up. And bear with me, guys. This is a new drawing tool for me. So imagine, can you see my cursor, Alex? No? Okay. That's all right. Imagine your life like this. You've got 4 pillars. You've got health, wealth, relationships, spirituality. And then, you've got the capstone on top. The capstone, that's you. Your identity, your clarity, your leadership, yourself. Now, each pillar, if this was a portfolio, think of it as human capitals. Okay, so now let's imagine the human capital allocation. Your essence, your presence, your soul. XI calls it time coins. So you've invested 25% in health, 25% in wealth, 25% in relationships, 25% in spirituality. The total human capital, your presence, your time coins, is at 100%. And that is what I call the balanced human portfolio. Natural intelligence, the science that runs the universe, it's taken 14 billion years perfecting itself, and it continues to do so. But if you notice nature, it's always migrating towards harmony. It's because of the law of equilibrium. Everything and everyone is programmed for harmony. And when these pillars grow together, the structure becomes stable. Your capstone, the self, stays centered. But here's the reality. This isn't how most people build success, though. Well, let me draw you the allocation. Okay. So normally, what happens, because we don't build success the way we should, we start borrowing. We start borrowing from our health. We start borrowing from, the wealth stays. We start borrowing from our relationships. And we start borrowing from our spirituality. Now the wealth pillar grows. Right? This keeps expanding. This keeps moving up. The wealth pillar keeps expanding. It grows. And from the outside, well, this looks impressive, doesn't it? But something important just happened. Did you notice it? The wealth pillar got taller while the other pillars weaken and diminish. The key here is that most success is not created by adding capital. It's built by borrowing it. Borrowing time from health, borrowing energy from relationships, borrowing meaning from the spiritual pillars. For a while, the strategy works. The pillar grows. Results improve, recognition increases. But do you see what's wrong with this picture? For the affluent youth who appear to have everything, this explains the strange weight many of them feel. For those who are not so affluent, well, this explains why the wealth pillar feels unstable. Different circumstances, it's the same physics. So the issue isn't about having or not having. The issue is coherent support. Now, here's what it becomes interesting. Since most don't know how to create new blocks, time coins, we start building scaffoldings, as I call it. They use scaffoldings to keep the self from collapsing. Let me show you how that looks like. They start support structures. And you might think, what is that? Well, what these support structures are is, again, they use scaffoldings, right? As support structures to keep the self intact. And it looks like this. Another deal, more women, more relationships, more power, proximity to influence. It looks like support, but if you ever wonder why many who reach this level look depleted, well, now you know. It's because you're sensing the inadequate support mechanisms when you talk to those individuals. You've heard it, right? I talk to a lot of high wealth individuals and I see the structure within. I see the inadequacy within. And I'm not saying they're inadequate in, say, a personal sense, but they're inadequate in their frequencies. Do you see why? They're trying to stabilize with something that they're not. So let me ask you a slightly uncomfortable question here. And this is where it might get tough for some of you. If the Epstein network had never been exposed, how many of the leaders revealed in that moment would people still be following today? More importantly, how many high performers were trying to build success using the same formula those people were using? And if you're younger listening to this, you might be asking an even more important question. Is wealth and influence worth destroying your life for? Is burnout simply the cost of ambition? You've heard that, right? Up and coming stars? Or is there actually a better way to live and perform? So these questions led to what we're exploring here today. Our research shows that the physics behind the Epstein files, this is when they run out of scaffolding, right? They can't place any more scaffolding here. They try everything. They keep adding more. They keep adding more. They keep adding more. And when they can't add anymore, people start to borrow from others. Some by force, others by manipulation. So let me ask you something. If you're going to rob a bank, would you rob a bank that has $100 in its vault? Or are you going to go and rob that one that has $1 million? Be honest. So just replace that money with essence, time coins. Younger life force has more time coins. And that's where society becomes confused. We look at the behavior. Most will make it a moral issue. Experts call it criminal. But what you're actually observing is the physics of structural collapse. That's why sometimes you look at someone incredibly intelligent, someone brilliant, and wonder, how could they do something so destructive? Well, now you know. Now you understand why. The system they built was never stable. The scaffoldings are like a blood transfusion. When the wrong blood type, the body soon rejects it. And eventually, the entire structure collapses. And this is what it looks like. Got it? So your structure collapses. By the way, it's not just about wealth. Those people who run spiritual patterns this way. Those people who say, dictate that their relationships work out this way. And again, it's not just wealth. It's relationships, it's spirituality, it's the 4 pillars. Whenever something becomes destructive, this is what starts to happen. The foundations collapse. Everything starts to collapse. Again, I stress that it's not just wealth. Okay, where am I? Can't see it. Oh. So now you see how the whole structure collapses. The self, your clarity, your leadership, your identity gets demolished. Can you fit me in? Crazy, right? Think you got the concept. This is what people are trying to do. You know, people today expect to be coddled. But I'm going to be very direct with you. Some of you might stop watching after what I'm about to say. That's fine. It only strengthens the cohort that remains. But are you ready? Close your eyes. If you're using the same method of success as those on the list, it's not just about wealth, the religions, sacrificing yourself for love, sacrificing yourself for your health. Think of it. If you are using the same principles, then you're operating within the same architecture. Remember, this is not a moral quiz, it's physics. It just means you're on the same path. Structural collapse, you're just farther behind. Now, I know many of you would have stopped the behavior well before they did. But the behavior isn't the point. The path is the point. And if the path is the same, the destination is inevitable. So unless you change the system, and when this happens, something deeper begins to happen inside the human system, because success is rarely built in calm environments. It's built in intensity, right? You've got deadlines, you've got pressure, you've got competition, you've got constant decision making. Here's the deal. The body adapts, but it releases chemicals to help you perform. Adrenaline, cortisol, dopamine cycles. You know, these chemicals are incredible tools. They allow humans to push through difficult situations. But they were designed for short bursts of survival, not decades of sustained performance. See, the more successful someone becomes, the more their nervous system begins operating in a constant high alert state. And that's what I call signal overload. Your system is processing so much information that the signal begins to distort. When the signal distorts, clarity drops, energy becomes unstable, and health degradation begins long before symptoms appear. You know, most diseases don't begin when the doctors detect them. They begin decades earlier, inside subtle nervous system distortions. And in over 30 years of studying hundreds of high performers from all walks of life in history and today, I came to this conclusion. The same traits that built their success are often the ones that silently drain their system. High performers rarely fail because they lack discipline or drive. You know, they fail because their system never learned how to reset. It's just relentless drive, constant thinking, never turning off. And if you understand finance, you already know how this story ends, right? This is exactly how leverage works. You borrow capital. And to recap, success often isn't built by adding blocks, right? It's built by borrowing them from other pillars of your life. You concentrate it into one position, spirituality, success, whatever it might be, that one pillar. And the return grows faster, just like you saw. But leverage has a rule. Eventually, the system performs an audit. The structure becomes, well, way too imbalanced. And that's where the margin call arrives. In human life, that margin call looks like this. And check these off if that's you. Burnout, health crisis, divorce, loss of meaning, being on that list. Now, we realize that the problem isn't you wanting success. Most people, just like Matthew McConaughey, it's like, hey, I've been successful, I want this way. Again, it's not that. The problem is how your system generates it. Total Human Reset was designed to solve that structural problem. And when the system recalibrates, something interesting really happens. Health rises, relationships stabilize, meanings return. Many of you experienced that already, right? Comment in if you have. And wealth stops requiring constant force. It begins to compound naturally because the structure underneath is finally stable. So if you're looking at this drawing and thinking the pillar looks like a little familiar, don't worry, you're not alone. Most high achievers build success this way. But once you can see the structure clearly, you can start rebuilding it. And that's where XI comes in. And that realization is what eventually led to the creation of Total Human Reset. Let's go do the next. Here we switch. I want to take a moment to acknowledge extraordinary teachers in the world today. These are just a few. People like Tony Robbins, people like Alex Hormozi, people like Joe Dispenza, and many, many others. Each of them has contributed something valuable. You know, Tony Robbins helped millions of people understand state management, how to change your emotional psychology, how to shift your mindset. Alex Hormozi has taught entrepreneurs structural thinking. Structural thinking about business, how to build offers, how to build leverage, how to scale systems. Joe Dispenza, he's shown people that the mind influences the body. The consciousness can change biology. You know, these contributions are important, but when you step back and look at the full architecture, you begin to see something interesting. Each of these systems optimize a pillar: state, strategy, mind. But hardly any system addresses the foundation underneath the pillars. The nervous system, the signal architecture of perception, the deeper operating system that determines how intelligence processes reality. And there's another layer that almost no system addresses, what I call the frequency architecture of the human system. Think about it for a moment. Before you had a brain, before you had a nervous system, before you were even a single cell, there had to be an intelligence layer organizing the process, right? Something knew how to render you in physical form. Something knew how to assemble trillions of cells into a coherent system. That organization layer is what exponential intelligence, metascience, well, explores. Not just how the mind works, not just how the biology works, but how the intelligence field that renders both of them operate. We call it raising your XIQ, exponential intelligence quotient. As a note, I've got a program called Command, Grow Rich and Happy, the next evolution of Think and Grow Rich. Many of you who've read Think and Grow Rich, you've found success, but you have the symptoms of what we talked about earlier. Command, Grow Rich, Total Human Reset is about to change that for you. But this is where the real leverage begins. When you start to learn how to access that deeper layer of intelligence, the system that generates your health, your decisions, your creativity, and your leadership. Everything reorganizes itself. And that's the deeper work we began during this 2-day summit. And the 90-day Total Human Reset program is designed to help you unlock the code to access that layer consistently. So if you can reach that level of intelligence, and people have with XI, comment in, you're no longer just optimizing the pillars, you're working with the source code underneath them. And that's the gap Total Human Reset was designed to fill. It's not to replace any of these systems. They're great teachings, but to enhance them. In fact, many of you who've done those systems from those great individuals, you'll go much, much faster. You'll accelerate much, much faster. And this is why. When the foundation becomes stable, everything built on top of it improves. Your strategy becomes clearer. Your decisions become faster. Your health stabilizes. Your relationships deepen. In other words, when the system resets, every pillar rises. Can you imagine that? So before I reveal the protocol used in Total Human Reset, the protocol designed to help you access that deeper layer of intelligence. Let me close this section with a story. A story that explains something interesting I've observed over the years. This is the reason why many of Tony's, Alex's, and Joe's clients eventually become mine. Not because their teachings are wrong. In fact, they help a lot of people. But eventually, many are realizing that they need to go one layer deeper. And that's where this story begins. It's about a billionaire. Someone who had actually made the Forbes Top 40 list. And if you think this isn't relatable, just listen because, well, it's just a human pattern that repeats itself over and over and over again, no matter where you are. So years ago, I met someone who, by almost every traditional measure, had won the game. He built a company most people here would respect. He had the house, the mansions. He had the recognition, the financial freedom. Now, from the outside, his wealth pillar looked enormous. Are you all thinking about the other pillars? He didn't come to me directly. He actually came to me because a client of mine, someone who had experienced extraordinary results, referred him. And when he arrived, it wasn't because he hadn't tried everything. In fact, he had tried more than most people could ever imagine, because at that level of wealth, you gain access to solutions that most people never even hear about. He had explored them all: advanced longevity treatments, private medical teams, even extreme health protocols that only someone at that level of wealth can afford. He was even a major investor in Fountain Life. It's the longevity company connected to Tony Robbins' book, Life Force, right? So this was not someone ignoring his health. He was doing everything modern science suggested. And yet, his health was collapsing. Heart issues, severe heart issues. Doctor had given him roughly about a year. This was the moment his friend referred him to us. And this is where something happened. Something interesting happened. When we met, when we started talking, he asked me, he told me, he said, "Moss, I thought once I reached this level, things would calm down." But they didn't. If anything, the pressure got louder. The decisions got heavier. And the strange part was, the more successful I became, the less stable everything else felt. His health wasn't sudden. It was been declining for years, like I said. At first, it didn't look dramatic, right? Just fatigue, sleep problems, stress. Then the relationship started shifting. Less presence, more distance. And the thing that surprised him the most was something he couldn't even explain. just a quiet loss of meaning. He had achieved the goal, but the feeling he expected to arrive never actually showed up. Now, if you look at this through the lens of what we talked about today, the patterns become obvious, right? His wealth pillar had grown very tall, but it didn't grow by adding blocks. It grew by borrowing them, borrowing time coins from health, borrowing energy from relationships, borrowing meaning from the spiritual pillars. The structure looked impressive, but the capstone, the self, was slowly tilting. And this is the part that fascinated me, because he wasn't doing anything wrong. In fact, he was doing exactly what the world had taught him to do. Work harder, optimize more, achieve more, push further. But the world never taught him, was the architecture of the human system running that success? Was that stable? And once he understood that, something remarkable happened. Within months, his health began to turn around. His energy returned, his heart stabilized. Today, he actually looks younger and more vibrant than ever before. Comment in if that is one of you who've done that. But the biggest change wasn't just physical. His leadership changed. He began running his companies with far more clarity and grace. And something interesting happened inside the companies themselves. His employees became more productive, less sick time. Not because he pushed them harder, but because the system running the leader had changed. You've probably realized that the problem most high performers face is that, their system has never been taught how to operate in equilibrium. So it's not lack of strategy, not more medicine or the latest miracle tech. What he actually needed was access to the intelligence layer running his life. So we built a way to access it. And that technology is what we call hypermeditations. You don't have to go to a retreat. And it's not another mindset strategy. It's a protocol designed to recalibrate the system underneath the pillars. So when the foundations stabilize, something remarkable happens. Like I said, health rises, relationships deepen, meaning returns, and wealth, stops feeling like something you have to chase. It becomes something that compounds just naturally. Wait. No, I'm not ready. Where am I? Okay, you ready? Hypermeditations? Okay, go. Ready? Yep. So, Alex, you were saying that, what is it called? What do they say? I'm just looking at some of the comments.
It mentioned more and more that exercise for high performers.
Yeah. So a lot of you, again, are asking some of the questions. It's like, it's more about high performance now, right? It's not about being whole. Well, here's the key, especially for the one asking that question. That's the key. If you're a high performance individual, all systems, right? All cylinders are firing. All 4 cylinders are firing at the same time. Many of you who've been spiritual, many of you who've been on the path, many of you who aren't that successful, that's fine. Why? All aspects of you have to evolve higher and higher. That's why, right? So yes, it is about high performance. It's not the high performance that you think it is, though. That's the problem. This is the whole seminar. That's what the whole seminar is about. Both sides are wrong. Spirituality, your columns of spirituality is higher. Everything else collapses. You've seen that happen to people, right? You've seen they're highly spiritual and then they show up on the list. Like Deepak Chopra, the Dalai Lama. So are you talking about that wholeness? I'm talking about the whole complete being. This is just an evolution of XI where every aspect of you has to evolve. There is no sacrifice here. That's the key. Okay? All right. And I love the questions. We'll move on to hypermeditations. Okay? This is the future of healing and human performance. Again, the future of healing performance isn't about accessing that intelligence that built it. The future of healing and human performance isn't hacking the mind or technology. Can they still see me? All right. Sorry, guys. Just having some technical glitches here. Again, the future of human technology, okay, or accessing that intelligence layer. So whether you're a spiritual individual, how do you access that layer? Right? I help a lot of spiritual individuals access that deeper state. This isn't about separation. If you're thinking it's separation, it's not. It's about wholeness. It's about completeness. Right? So again, it's not the future of healing and human performance isn't about hacking. It's not praying more. It's not about the mind or technology. It's accessing the intelligence that built it. So whether you're on the spiritual side, you want to connect to that intelligence that built it. Whether you're on the wealth side, to do it right, you want to connect to that intelligence that built it. It's the same thing. The difference is that both sides are leasing out that intelligence to technology, to mythology, to all those things that are out there. I'm not saying they're wrong. They're not the most efficient. So over the last 14 years, we've discovered something very surprising. The human system operates on layers of intelligence. Just like technology, you have the interface layer, habits, behaviors, mindset, right? You have the biological layer. You've got the brain chemistry, hormones, nervous systems. And then underneath both of those, there's something deeper. The intelligence layer. The intelligence layer that organizes the entire system. So most optimization systems work on the interface layer. Again, spirituality, better strategy. Some at the biological layer. But almost no one is working at that intelligence layer itself. And that brings us to the technology behind Total Human Reset. Something that, to my knowledge, no other system in the world currently offers. It's called hypermeditations. Some of you, a lot of you on this call are very aware of it. And so comment in on how fantastic the transformations are. So now despite the, excuse me, now despite the name, this isn't really a meditation. Because meditations traditionally help calm the mind, slow the nervous system down, create mental stillness. Hypermeditations do something very, very different. They are advanced frequency protocols designed to help you access that deeper intelligence layer. The layer that extends well before your nervous system, before your brain, before you were even a single cell. It's the organizing intelligence that renders human life. So if you're on that spiritual side, isn't that what you want, right? If you're on the technology side, isn't that what you want? So most optimization systems work on the other two. Mindset, behavior change, biochemistry, technology. They try to move the output of the system. But hypermeditations work at a very, very different level. They recalibrate the signal architecture of perception itself. So if you think of it this way, most systems study the surface of a person, Psychology studies behavior. Business coaching studies strategy. Performance science studies physiology. But those are often just the symptoms. It's like studying the decor of a building, the personality, the story, the achievements. Hypermeditation studies something deeper, the foundation. They study the architecture of consciousness itself, the source code running the person, the frequency patterns shaping perception, identity, decision-making, and biological responses. So after 3 near-death experiences, I began perceiving something very unusual. The structural patterns behind how people experience reality. And I teach this, by the way. So over the last 14 years, through more than 100,000 sessions and millions invested in research, well, we began mapping those patterns. Not in sterile laboratories, but with real humans, real lives, real results. And that research became what we now call hypermeditations. Protocols designed to help the human system reconnect with its own organizing intelligence. Right? So not through belief, that can only take you so far, not through suggestion, but through direct frequency recalibration of the perception. And here's the surprising part. It's incredibly simple. You don't need to believe anything. You don't have to spill your guts to strangers. You don't have to stare into someone's eyes. You don't have to jump up and down yelling you're a gladiator. There's no escape to the jungle. It all happens online, in the privacy of your own home. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and listen. Literally, sit back, relax, and listen. You can even fall asleep if you need to. And the system will still begin shifting for you. It is really that simple. You know, in many ways, XI, exponential intelligence, is the kind of technology that I would think Steve Jobs might have designed if he had discovered the architecture of human consciousness. It's elegant, it's powerful, it's very simple to use. Now, I'm going to put my credibility on the line here. So over the next 2 days, I'm going to demonstrate something. That meaningful change in a person's life doesn't have to take years. It doesn't even have to take months. Once the system resets, change can begin happening very quickly. Sometimes in days, sometimes in hours. And over the next 48 hours, you're going to be experiencing the beginning of that shift. What we're attempting here is something most transformation programs never try. We're compressing what normally takes years of personal development into 2 days of structural recalibration. So here's the tragedy of it all, though. If my abilities that I'm demonstrating today came from a machine, this would be the biggest story in technology. Silicon Valley would be celebrating it. Venture capital would be pouring in. Scientists would be racing to study it. Trillions of dollars would be invested trying to replace it. Because everybody understands the value of a technology that can only rapidly change human performance and health. But when that same ability appears in a human being, suddenly the conversation changes, right? Now it's called woo-woo. It's called unscientific. Not because it doesn't work, but because it challenges how we've been taught to judge credibility. Now, most people don't evaluate results first. They evaluate origin. Okay? This is where you get messed up. The institution behind it, the letters behind the name, the proximity of other authorities, what you believe in, who endorses it, who approves it. But when you look honestly at the outcomes those systems have produced, whether it's religions, science, anything, you have to ask a difficult question. How well has that model actually worked for society? The Epstein files, well, revealed something uncomfortable, right? Many of the individuals humanity trusted most, the people with the most credentials, the power, the closest proximity to authority, well, we're not necessarily operating from the highest level of intelligence or integrity, right? So if humanity is going to evolve, we just may need to change how we evaluate truth. So instead of asking, who said it? Where did it come from? What institution approved it? We may need to ask a simpler question. What are the results? And when you look at the results of the work we've been doing over the last 14 years, the same pattern keeps emerging over and over again. People just don't improve their strategies or their mindset or their health. They improve their system running their lives. And that brings us to something Tony Robbins often says. You know, Tony talks about the power within, right? Most people, maybe even Tony himself, hear that as motivation, a metaphor, a way of encouraging people to believe in themselves. But what if that statement is actually literal? What if there really is an intelligence inside the human system that we simply never learn how to access? Not through belief, not through positive thinking, but through a precise method, a technology that is what we call hypermeditations. Now, Silicon Valley spends billions trying to build artificial intelligence. Hypermeditations help you access the intelligence that built you. Now, enough of the explanations. They can only take you so far. What time do we got here?
12:53.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll take a short break. Then it's time to experience the intelligence, especially if you're new, that we've been talking about. We'll be right back in 5 minutes. So 12:54, 1 o'clock my time. All right? We'll be back in 5 minutes. Welcome back. So just looking over some of the questions, and then we'll start the hyper meditation. Just go ahead, kick back, relax, get comfortable. All right, so some of the questions is like, why is everything towards high net worth individuals? Well, it's really simple. I see all of you as high net worth individuals. I think you're looking at it at the physical level, the physical structure, money, spirituality, religion. That's what corrupts people. That's what's very destructive in society. This is where separation happens. This is where segregation happens. This is the haves and have-nots. I'm not about that. When I look at you, when I see who you really are, when you're in private session with me or in this hyper meditation, I see the potential of who you are. The potential that goes way beyond your concepts of who you think you are. To me, all of you are very ultra high net worth individuals. So if you come from that framework, that standard of what it's about, that's how I move you. That's how I shift you. That's how I can change you in less than 48 hours, 2 days. That's the key. Right? So you think you're broken here. I don't. That's your problem. I think you're built already. You're already ultra high net worth. You're already at a high level. Imagine if you're that spiritual side. In spirit, would you be in lack of anything? Would you be diseased? All that bullshit that you've heard about, you're here to learn something, you're here to be abused and all that, that's all bullshit, by the way, right? They've taught you that. Generations and generations. That's the problem with society. And that might go against many of your systems. But I'm here to tell you it's a lie. I'm here to tell you that you are, again, a very ultra high net worth individual in my eyes. The key is to get you to that point so you can see who you really are. Okay? So let's begin your first hyper meditation. And if you've done this before, again, we'll go deeper into it. Okay? As a note, you don't have to believe anything for this to work. Literally, all you have to do is relax and listen. We'll take a break afterwards, let it sink in, then I'll reveal the missing code behind your health. So, are you ready? Let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's take a deep breath in. Get comfortable with where you are. Just notice where you are. And you might think I'm just standing here. Really not. Starting to generate frequencies, just like, say, a machine would. But this is much more advanced. This is a whole, say, spectrum of frequencies that I generate for you. And my process is literally tapping into the group, whether you're listening live, which is beneficial. There's tons of people on the call live, so thank you for that. But if you're listening to recording, well, your blueprint, your imprint would be, fragments of those individuals. Breathe in again. Comfortable with where you are. And we'll do a hyper meditation on wealth. Okay? And then after the health session, we'll do another hyper meditation. So it does get intense, by the way, because we want to change you in that 48 hours. Notice your neck, notice your back, and notice your surroundings. Breathe in again. Again, notice your surroundings. Notice the vibe, the frequency around you. You know, when you walk into a room, somebody's house, for example, you pick up a vibe, right? Where does that come from? Where's that vibe? What are you picking up? There are a lot of sensors within you. You only know 5. Breathe. You inhale through the mouth, strong deep breath in, hold that breath, and then you exhale. And notice what you might be experiencing right now. As you start to observe your surroundings, notice your body. Notice a point on your body, like your belly button or the tip of your nose. Breathe in again. As that generate frequencies, it'll go deeper. Start to notice the visuals around you, whether your eyes are open or closed. Just kind of notice the visuals around you, lighting, objects, ceiling, and then you. Again, the belly button, left ear. Notice sounds around you. Notice any smells as you inhale. Notice the scents around you. Breathe. Notice what's happening to you as we go inwards. Notice your skin, the front, the back, top, bottom, side to side. Notice your whole presence, your body, your identity of who you are. I will specifically focus wealth patterns. Whether you're highly wealthy or you're not, whether you believe in wealth or you don't, it doesn't matter, because those definitions are human definitions. Breathe in. We're going to take you back to the original intelligence of wealth. And then we can see how you compare. Breathe in. Where do you think you got your wealth habits, your patterns, your ideas? And notice where your wealth is today. Are you highly successful, a lot of wealth, and yet broken? Or are you highly successful and want to access more, but don't know how because, well, you don't have enough. You sacrifice way too much. Or, breathe deep. Are you one of those individuals that are trying to reach for success? If only I had this, then I could do that. Either way, go back. We'll take you back. Notice when you were a kid. Notice the environment that you grew up in. Notice your parents. What was their success patterns? Are there patterns that you are running that is the same? Notice your generational patterns. Those who were born during the Depression. No matter what level of success or lack of, breathe deep. There's still a sense of scarcity in them. No matter what they do. Breathe. Many of you come from a religious or a nice person frequency. Can't have too much money because then it'll be sinful. Now you understand why. It's not about the money. Breathe. Notice your neck, your throat. It literally is about the process of achieving money, the process of spirituality, the process of your relationships, the process of your health. Look at those 4 categories, those 4 pillars of your life. We're going to focus right now on wealth. But if you look at your wealth patterns, you'll most likely see it in the other patterns. It's literally the same signal. You might think it's different. It's not. If you're sacrificing for your wealth, you're going to sacrifice for your religion or your spirituality or your love or your health. Simple. If you've been abused back in the day, didn't have the best childhood, doesn't matter. And then you got out of it, for example. Breathe. Say that you got abused back in the day. You were shortchanged. People like to say in Silicon Valley, right? Not the most sociably acceptable people back in high school, probably, right? The nerds and all that stuff that people called about. The outcast, the abused, and all that. It's totally fine. Again, this isn't moral. It's just references. And then because of that, you created wealth. Because I was born poor, that is my drive, right? So what is your fuel? Breathe. Keep your eyes closed if you like, doesn't matter. But notice what's happening for you. It's not just a mental visual. Something's happening to many of you. It's happening deep inside your cells, right? Your identity is changing, which is really fantastic. Some of you might have a hard time with it. Some of you are feeling, say, enlightened. That aha moment, that's fine too. Breathe. All right. Look at your wealth patterns. Look how you achieve your wealth patterns. I'll go back to that example. As you notice your spine, say that you want to sign that big deal. You want to get that role. You want to get that new house, that new job, an extra $10 an hour, whatever it might be, whatever level. What's the first thing that shows up? Again, be honest. Breathe deep. What's the first thing that showed up? Breathe. Notice your body. What do you have to give up? What do you have to sacrifice to achieve your goal? In this case, again, it's wealth. Breathe. That is the exchange of time coins. That is the exchange of those pillars, those blocks, moving your blocks over to the wealth. Whether you're just here to survive, be happy, or you want to make $1 billion, it's all the same. It's the same process, same trajectory. People argue about the level. I argue about the logistics, the architecture. Breathe. I'll give you a clear example. Put some numbers to it. Notice your shoulders. Notice your hips. And you may wonder, how can I affect you, right, through all this? Well, it's pretty easy. Science, there's a lot of science behind it. It goes into the quantum realm. Yeah. Won't talk about it here. Just want you to feel the bottom line. Breathe in. Just tapping into the group. Put an equation to it. how much X do I need to create Y units of success? In this case, wealth. Okay? Tomorrow we'll talk about relationships and spirituality. But in this case, it's just wealth. Breathe in as we go deeper yet. I'm doing multiple things at the same time. And notice it's just not a meditation. That's why we call it hypermeditation. It's about rewiring, recoding you. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. See if this equation feels right for you for wealth. And this is the why that many people teach, right? Napoleon Hill and everything that's branched off it. If I create my why big enough, success will come. And that's true. So let's put some numbers to it. As you breathe in, say for example that you were born poor, you wanted to become wealthy. You were abused, you wanted to become wealthy. Whatever the reason, whatever the why, it doesn't matter. Okay? Let's just put some numbers to it. For every 3 units of X, hatred, wanting to get away, escaping, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. For every 3 units of this, I will get 1 unit of success. Okay. Breathe in. I think a lot of you are feeling the heaviness of your trajectory. Not your wealth or lack of, but the trajectory. So imagine that you wanted 10 units of success, of wealth. What does X have to increase by? 3 units times 10, that's 30 units. If you wanted 100 units of success, you've got 300 units of guilt, of shame, of abuse, of sacrificing your soul. So the more successful you get, the more this builds up. That Y has to equal. Again, it's all equilibrium. Take a deep breath in. Do you see the problem? It's the law of diminishing returns. It's got nothing to do with spirituality. It's got nothing to do with the next strategy. It's just straight out architecture. Straight out math. Breathe. Now, in the 90 days, we'll show you how to restructure that so there's no debt, there's no sacrifice. For now, we'll start to separate your logic, the who you think you are, to the who I see you are, the who that you know you are deep inside. If only, answer that question. Take a breath in. Answer that question. If only I could access that limitless self, my spirit, my potential. It doesn't matter whether you're religious, spiritual, atheist, it doesn't matter. We all know it, we all have it, because it's a biological. It's got nothing to do with belief. It's biological. Breathe in. So as we separate the old you, the old logic system, in this case wealth, let's go into the possibilities on how you could build wealth the proper way. Wealth that feeds the other three pillars. Better relationships. Close your eyes, take a breath in. Notice how that feels. Whereas your wealth rises, your relationships rise. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You just don't know how to access it. Because it's not a mental state. It's not a practice. It's not a decision. It's a frequency. As your wealth rises, your health rises. Your spiritual connection rises. They're the same. Breathe in. Many of you have gotten destroyed or disrupted by wealth is evil, religion is good, spirituality is good. Neither one is good if you don't have the self included. And that's what most people do. Breathe in. Sit in silence for just a few seconds here. And let it sink in. Notice your brain. Notice your heart. And notice the groin area. And notice your hands. Notice your feet. Breathe. For many of you, as I sense, there's just that stillness, right? No matter what level of wealth, notice the stillness in you. That's the power that resonates you. That's the why that will replace. Not what you don't want to get what you want, but who you really are to become that person in physical form. It's a huge difference. Breathe in. Notice what you're experiencing. Breathe in again. All right. Can you feel the weight? Some of you can feel the weight. Again, the heaviness. It's always been there. Most of you, though, are feeling that weight being removed. It's like you can actually breathe deeper, right? You can know that you're safe, you're secure, you'll be stable at all levels. Notice how that works. Again, this isn't just a mere meditation. It's a restructuring of your frequency, your core level of who you are. I'm going to let that sit for you for just a second. We'll take about 4 minutes. We'll come back and we'll talk about the XI code behind your health. All right? Welcome back. How are y'all feeling? Comment in. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty transformative. Check out the comments. Again, comment in, guys, on how you're feeling through that hyper meditation, especially if you're new. Pretty crazy. And even if you've been here before, even if you've been with me for years, probably one of the hundreds of thousands of clients sessions that we've had, notice that it was very different, right? Yeah. It's a whole level of frequencies that I can help you achieve. All right, so now let's talk about health. Like I said, tomorrow we'll talk about relationships and spirituality. But take a breath in again. I'll just start working on you now that you know the system, the process, right? Just relax. And think about this. What if your body already knew how to heal? You know, we've been taught that if we just try harder, our bodies will eventually listen, right? We've optimized our sleep. Something happened, Alex. Excuse me. Little kitty cat came in. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Again, like I said, you know, we've optimized our sleep. We've optimized our, our diets. You know, we've filled, our cabinets with supplements and our calendars with recovery, right? Take a lot of vacations. We are literally the most optimized generation in human history. And yet, we're the most exhausted. So, why is that the people who know the most about performance are the ones burning out the fastest? Right? You do all the right things, you do all that spiritual stuff, but why? Well, here's why. It's because you are trying to drive a high-performance vehicle with a misaligned engine. Like I said, I see your optimal self, your highest performance. You know, and what you're doing is you're polishing the exterior while the internal architecture, the engine, is literally collapsing. You don't need a better routine. You've got enough of that. You need to access the intelligence that built you in the first place. That's total human reset. So let's talk about the physics of why your system is falling or failing and how we're going to rewrite that code. Today, we decode the missing architecture of health. This is why are the people, again, if you look at it, they're optimized, but they are burning faster and faster. So let me show you the missing code that they were missing. And many of you, in this room have already done what high performers are told to do. You optimized, you experimented, right, with morning routines. You optimized sleep. You've optimized diet, supplements, probably biohacking, probably therapy, meditation retreats, right, performance coaching. Right? You've tried to engineer a better version of yourself. And many of those things helped temporarily, but let me ask you a very honest question. If just optimization alone worked, then why do many of the most disciplined, intelligent, high-performing people still end up burned out, they're anxious, they're sick, they're exhausted by the very success that they created? And by success, again, building a house, building a home, right? Nurturing, parenting, spiritual, whatever it might be, success. So why do the people who know the most about performance or success still struggle to sustain it? And that became the question, the starting point of my research. Because the answer isn't discipline. The answer isn't about knowledge. We've got plenty of that, especially with AI. And it isn't another strategy. The real issue is structural. Most people are trying to optimize the output of a system that was never designed to sustain that level of output. So, and that realization led to the creation of Total Human Reset. You know, the world has become very good at teaching people how to push harder. Almost nobody teaches people how to upgrade the system doing the pushing. Most health systems help you manage decline. Total Human Reset helps you change the trajectory of your evolution. Let's talk about that second, the third pillar, I think it was. So included inside Total Human Reset, we've built an entirely new system of how we approach exercise and nutrition. And then on the surface, some of it may look familiar. You know, movement, food quality, recovery. But here's the difference. The difference isn't the activities. The difference is the frequency evolution behind it. Let me explain. If you look at nature, nature doesn't move in circles. Nature moves in spirals. You've got spring, summer, fall, winter. Every year the pattern repeats, but it never returns to the exact same place. It just returns slightly higher. Again, the same physical output at a higher level of intelligence. Evolution is not circular. It's spiral progression. And this creates an interesting question. If nature evolves in spirals, then why do humans repeat the same health patterns generations after generation? Why do we see the same diseases our parents had and their parents before them had? So in many cases, we're seeing those diseases appear earlier and earlier. Conditions that used to appear like, in somebody in the 60s, they're now showing up in their 40s or their 30s, even their 20s. Crazy, right? So something about the human health system is no longer evolving. As humans, we don't evolve, we circle. In fact, many cases, it's literally decaying across nations. We don't even circle, we cycle downwards. And that raises an important question. Why? So most modern medical systems, whether it's Western medicine, Eastern medicine, or anything in between, operate primarily at the symptom level, here. And to be clear, symptom solutions are necessary, but they rarely access the deeper pattern. They help people manage disease. They rarely help people exit the cycle that produces it. Think of it this way. Most health optimization today focuses on the driver. You know, better sleep, better diet, better supplements, better routines, better discipline. Some people go deeper. Therapy, breath work, biohacking, longevity clinics, that's all great. So many of these tools are very valuable, but there's a structural problem. They optimize the driver, not the engine. If the engine is misfiring, no amount of driving techniques fixes the vehicle. You can drive more carefully, you can polish the exterior, you can buy better tires, but the engine is misaligned. And that's where the most health systems stop. They improve the surface of life, without recalibrating the system underneath it. This is where our research at XI Metascience, took a very, very different path. We began studying something unusual. Cases throughout history where people experienced dramatic healing shifts, near-death experiences, spontaneous recoveries, rapid neurological change. Like Anita Mirjani, right? She recovered herself from cancer. Cases when the human system appeared to reorganize itself. So instead of dismissing those cases, we studied them. Because they all pointed to the same possibility, that humans have a dormant healing architecture. that modern systems just don't yet understand. So inside the XI community, many of you have already experienced it, right? Comment in. Earlier versions of this. Some of you are noticing things very interesting. You're not aging the way your parents did, right? Again, comment in. Your system is behaving differently. Your energy is different. Your recovery is different. Your biological trajectory is different. Your biological markers are different. They're not cosmetic changes, although that could help. Not temporary wellness trends, but deeper shifts in the essence of your system itself. Almost as if the body is, say, regaining time, okay? Regaining what I call time coins. And this is one of the reason our research is aligned with the global interest around healthy aging and rejuvenation. Currently, there's 101 million global challenge focused on extending human health spans, right? The Google X Prize. Our research explores the possibility that the human system may contain far more regenerative potential than modern medicine currently assumes. And our thesis is simple. Every human being carries a dormant healing intelligence. Total Human Reset is designed to help people access that intelligence. It's not by forcing the body and not by hacking the body, but by recalibrating the signal the body is responding to. And when we talk about health, we're not just talking about, physical disease. We're also talking about, say, the silent epidemic affecting high performers, burnout, anxiety, depression, ADHD, PTSD. Many of the people who walk into high performance environments look successful on the outside, but internally their systems is running, say, constant survival mode. A lot of you have come to me because of your teenagers, young kids, running the same thing, PTSD, ADHD. At their youth, there's no difference. Again, it's the function. So over the last 14 years, thousands of people who have worked with XI programs have reported something very remarkable. It's not just improvements in energy, not just improvements in focus, but a fundamental shift in their system experience. They report living healthier. They report living happier. They report feeling cleaner and more stable than they have in years. So let me be clear about something. We don't claim to heal anyone. Okay? Healing is not something a practitioner gives you. Healing is something your system does. And that's something that even the medical system can't claim. But that's what we do extremely well. We help people access the code to their own dormant health intelligence. The intelligence inside the body that already knows how to repair, restore, and reorganize itself. And then when people reconnect to that layer, something interesting begins to happen. The system doesn't just manage symptoms, it begins to rebuild itself from the inside out. Health has layers. Biology is one of them. So I've invited two experts on nutrition and performance to join us. Can you hit Jolene? Welcome back. Jolene is our fitness expert. Oh, Allie? Oh, hey guys. Looks like we've got Allie, our nutrition expert. Hey Allie, how's it going? Oh, I can't hear her. Just 1 second. Oh, I can't hear you. Hmm? Yeah. Looks like we've got Allie, our nutrition expert. Hey, Allie, how's it going?
Hi, Moss. It's going really well. Really, really beautiful to be here again. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, now I can. I think
Okay,
the audience
great.
can too.
Yes, I am in the airport.
Yep.
Yes.
So Allie, if you can just give us a brief. I know you're running around. If you can give us a brief on, say, what you're bringing into the Total Human Reset this year.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. So it's my honor to be here for a third Total Human Reset. And so for those of you who have been with me before, Although I can't see the chat right now, please put in the chat if you have been with me before through the THR program. And I'm going to explain how this particular one is very different. Now, I have been personally really looking forward to facilitating and teaching this way because it is all about aligning. It is, I love how, Moss, you were talking about the burnout, and that is associated with trying to overanalyze too many diets, too many biohacking. You're a high performer. You want to like get it right. And you look towards the nutritionist to lay it all out for you. And so I'm asking you to circle that energy back to yourself in trust, to really focus on your self-trust and self-guidance. So often our energy is coming out here. What's the diet? Tell me this. Can I have this? Can I eat this? So many questions about what you're doing when I know you know what to eat. You know how much to eat and you know when to eat. And I can actually feel when I say that, your internal dialogue. Wait. I don't know. No, I really want you to tell me what to do. This is really advanced. This is advanced. So the first part of Total Human Reset with nutrition is the ceremony of nutrition, to bring the sacredness back to you. And in knowing that you have so many resources and knowing that moment when you decide what to eat, what is that frequency? What is that alignment? Are you in alignment? Are you out of alignment? And I'm here to support you through the entire process. This is going to create a lifestyle shift for you, not a temporary diet, not just a, okay, great, we're going to do this. We're going to do the fasting. We will be fasting every Monday. You can go for 24 hours up to 72 hours each week that you choose. Your choice, your body, your sovereignty, your frequency. Trust in yourself. I have created recipes for you, as always, that I love doing.
Awesome.
And I will create, yes.
Oh, keep going.
Did you say awesome?
Yeah, I was just saying awesome. There's a little delay. So.
Okay. And so I've created some recipes for you, whether you do the ranch meat or you do vegan or vegetarian. I have a little bit of everything in there for everyone. And when you're sending your questions to me, I am really curious, like, do you really not know what's healthy? Read the labels, farm to table, natural foods, no sugars, all of the stuff that you've been taught and told for many, many times. And Moss's frequencies are specifically and particularly going to help you really align yourself. So this sacredness, what that means is that sacred pause, that sacred moment as you go to buy food. Are you checked out? Are you out of alignment? Are you just moving through the store? Oh, that feels good. No. If you connect to the farmers and you connect to the earth and the earth's perfect frequency and how she just gives and gives and gives abundantly to us, she feeds us, she loves us through her frequencies, through the food. I love going to the farmer's market. I love meeting the farmers. It changed my perspective completely to see their hands and all of the love that went into it. And so if I were those hands picking that food, that when it came onto my plate, I absolutely would pause and be so thankful. So when you're going through the grocery store and you're choosing what you're going to put on your plate, think about all the hearts and love, and hearts meaning their passion that went into this fresh food coming to you. Think about the sacredness. So the first section is the sacredness of nutrition, bringing that beauty back to the plate rather than the mind overanalyzing all these structures, performing, pushing, biohacking, tell me this. Oh, it's so much. You can even feel it in my frequency when I go into describing it, as opposed to the frequency of love and alignment and sacredness. So this really is an advanced level of nutrition. This is an advanced level of nutrition of you coming back to yourself rather than always grabbing and reaching out. This will create sustainability for you. That's what we really want. All of us here, we want sustainability, not a quick fix, not a little program that's just going to come and go. We want sustainability for you. So we came together as a team and talked about what would be the highest level of service for you to really up level and expand and grow and embody this beautiful body, embody to move forward with success with nutrition.
I love it. And, you know, Ali was talking about the frequencies of food, and that's where we, you know, we've gotten really disconnected by that. And what we do through the process, through the hyper meditations, through, you know, the reflection questions that we'll have for you almost every day for you as you go through the 90 days. And even now, what we'll do in the hyper meditation on health coming up, after we speak to Jolene. Okay, guys, that was my cat. You gotta love it, right? All right, so that was pretty crazy. She gets really, really excited when we do hyper meditations. I mean, it's just, how many of you who, you know, who've been with me before, you know, your animals just literally gravitate, right, to the frequencies? That's the nutrition that they're seeking, frequency. So whether it's your, you know, your pets, even horses, right? They'll come towards that nutrition, whether you need that nutrition. When we're going through these 90-day programs, we'll teach you how to put the frequencies, the nutrition of the frequency of nutrition, or the nutrition of frequencies into your food, like Ali was talking about. So yeah, you can go to the farm, which is really fantastic. I highly recommend that, especially nowadays with all this GMO foods, right? Or we can go deeper and generate those frequencies within our foods ourselves. Back in the day when people used to pray, that's what it's really about. Now it's turned into a religious or spiritual custom, but literally it's imbuing the frequency in and around your food, and that food will give you the nutrition that goes deeper than, say, just the biological nutrition that you need. You need the frequency nutrition. That's why most of those foods that are out there, they could be, and I've got a ton of clients, it's like they eat the healthiest food. They're farm raised, farm grown, but why are they still sick? Because they aren't connected to the deeper intelligence. And that's the key. You bring that back. So even, I would suggest obviously not eating genetically modified foods. Many of you got to stay away from that. And the reason why is that there's no frequency in it. There literally is no, say, frequency coding underneath for you to even, say, absorb that food. So even if they look good, they taste good, they're not food. Your body doesn't look at it as food. Okay? So that's a whole different subject that we'll get into deeper into it. Ali, any last thoughts as we bring in Jolene?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So as we go through the program, we have the first month that is the ceremony of nutrition. We'll have some detoxing that comes later after that. And then we'll really be creating the kitchen as a sacred space. So it is an embodied experience. It's something that if you've been with me before, you have heard me say how important your relationship with food is. Not psychological relationship, frequency relationship with food. So I want you to start thinking about that. What is your frequency relationship with food? What is that? And then please put in the comments any questions you have for me to prep and get ready for, so I can kind of see where you all are. You know how much I love hearing from you. We all, if you've been with me, if you know, you know. I really, really, really love connecting with all of you. So please, please bring that in. And I would love to see in the comments now what you're thinking about, how you're feeling, how I introduce this very, very different way of offering nutrition that I'm incredibly passionate about. Thank you so much, Mas. I love being here with you all.
Thanks, Ali.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be, again, it was fantastic. It's even better with the higher level frequencies. Like I said, everything is about frequencies. You can do the physical things, you can eat the healthiest foods, but it's not going to help you if you don't have the frequencies underneath. I want to bring on Jolene here. She's our fitness expert. She's done amazing. Maybe she could tell her a little bit about her life story as well. She's turned it quite a bit around, you know, even relationship-wise, health-wise, for sure. Quite amazing. Jolene, welcome.
Thank you, Mas. Ali, that was amazing. I completely resonate with so much of what you said. And I view fitness and, exercise in the same light, that it is a personal experience. And your body literally becomes the antenna. It tells you exactly what you want to do, when to do it. You can see it, you can feel it. If you're listening to your body and you follow that guidance, it is so fulfilling. So thank you, Moss, for having me on. This is my first time doing THR on this end as helping you guys out with fitness. I have been a part of THR as a client every single round. So I'm really excited to be on this end. Yes, my life experience. Let's just say that when I started working with Moss almost 11 years ago, I was a completely different person. I had so much trauma from my childhood that needed to be cleaned up. My nervous system, I had a lot of PTSD, and I was very socially and anxious around people. I kind of hid myself away and needed to clean all that up. So after a few years of frequency work and working with Moss in the programs and one-on-one sessions, I got myself to a point that I was nice and clean and cleared out. Then it was time for me to start creating myself new and different. So after a short period of time of feeling stagnant, not really knowing, what direction to go into or how to do it, my body was telling me that something needed to change, that I needed to take a new direction. I needed to take action. I was feeling like my body was starting to take on, the form of an older woman. It was losing its shape, becoming loose. My muscle tone was weak. I just felt, just like something was missing in my life. And so I started a fitness journey, and I cannot believe how quickly I evolved in this path. I literally changed completely physically overnight. It happened so fast that, at one point it was really, really difficult to look in the mirror because I didn't recognize myself anymore. And it was just like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to process that. So then I realized that the imposter syndrome was kicking in and I needed to get past that. So there's many like little layers of breakthroughs as you begin to develop and change physically. I'm so excited because I get to share this all with you. I just turned 53 on Thursday.
Wow.
So I started my fitness journey very late in life. I was 49 years old when I began, which I think is really cool because I think that might speak to a lot of people out there. Not they, I should say, I had it in my programming thinking that, you get to a certain point in your life and it's just too late. And as women, we start to give up on ourselves. We let ourselves go because we honestly think that it's too late. But I am here to tell you, it is not too late. It's never too late. And if you're going to try something new and you have, this amazing work with Moss and XI and frequencies, it elevates the experience and it catapults you forward so, so fast. So I'm here. I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. I'm right on board with Allie. Allie talked about the first phase being more of a ceremony, coming back to yourself. And the program that I've designed is exactly that. It's more of a softer landing. My vision for everyone is to come back to your bodies. I speak for women because I'm a woman. Men probably have the same programming, but not maybe as deep as women. But, as a woman, as we get older, we start to reject certain parts of our bodies. We start feeling insecure, hiding ourselves or hiding behind clothing or, just lacking the confidence within ourselves as we get older. So the first phase is to bring all of you back to those body parts that were rejected and just bringing yourself back to a whole complete being again and loving yourself. So we're going to come in nice and soft, nice and quiet. We're going to do stretch and mobility as the fitness part. And then Allie will be introducing her diet plan around that. So everything just seems like it fits together hand in hand. And of course, Moss will be doing the amazing work above and working on you at a frequency level. I did want to add that when I started my fitness journey, I really had an understanding that it would take me years and years to get where I wanted to be. I think that's why I held off on it for so long, because I was just like, God, this is going to take so long. Like I want to see results. But honestly, it doesn't work that way. When you're doing frequency work and Moss is clearing the signals so that you can see clearly, you start to understand yourself so much better. You know that you can do anything. You can change anything about yourself. You just know it so deep within you in every single cell in your body. And your body starts to perform in a different way. And when you're really doing it for you and nobody else, it is magical. So I am honored to be here. I'm so thankful, Moss, for bringing me on, and Allie working next to you as well. You are a master at what you do. And if you guys have any questions, I will be interacting with you on the Facebook page that Moss has set up for the community. And yeah, that's it.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jolie. And you know, she said a lot of key things there. A lot of times, again, as women age, right, they start to lose their body shape. They start to lose their structure. You see it happen all the time. Well, with XI, thousands and thousands of women, they start regaining their body structure. They start aging younger. Now, again, I don't claim anything. I'm just telling you the observations. Comment in if you've been one of those individuals, right? You're not aging like your parents. You don't have to look like your parents. And this is where a lot of people get confused. You know, this is where people go, well, it's just genetics. You know, it's just your DNA. It's just the way it is. No, it's really not. When you're a little kid, you know, you're looking at your mom and she's a lot older than you, or even your grandma, for example. And the guys are the same, but we'll just use women. And you look at them and you love them and you go, God, when I get older, I'm going to be just like them. It's just encoded because it's like they're just further down the path with you. And then you look at their body structure, right? And you just encode everything about them. And unfortunately, you turn into them. Now that could be good or it could be bad. I'm not here to say, but it's not you. Either way, there's a better version of you. And that is the key with Total Human Reset. You start to become an observer of why you're aging that way. We start to become an observer on your body shape, your facial structure. Many of you who've changed, especially if you've come from like traumatic situations, right? Your body structure holds that identity with you. And as you go through the process, on these 90 days, what will happen for you is your literally body structure will change. Your jawline, everything will be solid. You know, if you're a weak individual, you know, people look at you and it's like, oh, I can abuse them, I can use them. That's what happens because you're just sending out these vibes. So as we go through the process, and even today, we'll get into hypermeditation, guys, and then we'll wrap it up for today, okay? And then we'll get back together tomorrow for relationships and spirituality. But as you go through the process, you'll start to see all the distorted patterns that are rendering and creating you. You can do all the work that you want. You can do all the diets that you want. It's just not going to help if you don't have the underlying frequency structure. So whether it's wealth that we were talking about, right? Whether it's your health, if you don't have the underlying frequency, it's not going to help. And that's what THR is about. Installing the original pattern, the original core of who you are. All right, so let's initiate the health hypermeditation. And then we'll just leave you be, and then we'll see you tomorrow. So go ahead, for right now, let's take a deep breath in. We'll take about 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. Take a deep breath in. Just notice where you are. Notice your surroundings. Notice how fast in the first hypermeditation, it took me a little while to say herd all of you in. But notice now, as soon as we say hypermeditation, notice how you just like, whoa, because your body, your higher self, not your mind, your higher self, your cells go, oh, this was nutritious for me. Even if you're new, the first go around, did you notice that I just said, let's start this hypermeditation, and your body like perked up a little bit? Yeah, because your body, Gali was saying, already knows what's going on. It knows what's beneficial for you. Breathe in. This hypermeditation is on activating health. resetting the architecture of health for you. Breathe. Whether you continue on or not, it doesn't matter. If you choose to do the 90 days or not, it's all up to you. But this will help you reset. Notice your surroundings again. Notice the vibe around you. And as I start to generate those frequencies, it's like a machine would, right? We are fantastic mechanisms. We're generating, we're sending out frequencies all the time. Through the process, I've just learned how to do it consciously. Teach you how to do that as well. This is where you take command of your life. But for now, notice your jawline. And then notice you. Notice your body. Notice your image. If you were looking at a mirror, a reflection of yourself, and close your eyes. Close your eyes. As you notice sounds around you and a point on your body, call that spatial referencing. As you notice my voice, as you notice any visuals around you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's start to remove those things that you're not. Health issues. Most likely got them from your parents or your grandparents. Breathe. As you start to notice your body, as you close your eyes, imagining yourself in front of a full-length mirror. Notice how that mirror shows up. Is it an old mirror? Does it have cobwebs over it? Is it brand new? Notice what supports that mirror. Is it hanging on a wall or is it just there? Could be just floating. Notice how your visual shows up. Breath in. You get closer to the mirror. You're about 10 feet away. Still can't see yourself quite right. Let's see if I can help you with this visual. Just give me 1 second here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And no, these visuals aren't, goal-setting visuals or anything like that. They're gauges on how you render yourself beyond the mind. Breathe. Just give me 1 second. I think for the most of you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay. As you get closer, you're 5 feet away from that mirror in your mind's eye. You get a bit closer, a couple feet away. You see yourself clearly. In your mind's eye, look in the mirror. Look into your eyes. Breathe. Who do you see? Did you see somebody else running your system, your body? Now, I helped you arrange who is controlling your body, who is controlling your disease patterns, your aging patterns, the way you feel about yourself, the way you look at yourself. Just in that simple. And again, comment in later if you saw somebody else. Breathe. It's not that there's a ghost in you, not that somebody is inside you. It just shows you that you're running somebody else's architecture, their programming. Maybe your mom, take a breath in again, notice your body structure. Maybe you identify with your mom so much, or your father, either way, that say something happened to her at 30, and lo and behold, something happens to you at 30. It could be a divorce, it could be, cancer, it could be whatever. Breath in again. So we start to separate even more of who you are, who you could be, if you only knew, compared to who you're not. Would you like that separation a bit more? Right here, right now. If you do, all you have to do, you don't have to comment in, take a breath in. Many of you are commenting in, breaking that cycle. Take a breath in. Okay? This is just between you, your higher self. Breathe. Breath in again. Okay. If you want that degree of separation a bit more, this is where you'll start to see why you have the issues that you do, why you're aging the way you do. This isn't a replacement for what you're doing. This is just an enhancement at the frequency level. So whatever you're doing will help you. You'll heal faster. You'll do more. You'll be more calmer. If you like that, say yes. Take a breath in. Say, yes, I want to be a better, purer version of who I am. Simple. Of who I am. Some of you don't even know who you are. You're a bit of your mom's, a bit of your generational patterns. Think of it. Breathe in. Notice your body. Bit of your parents, genetics, or grandparents. Notice how that shows up for you. And notice where it shows up. How much of it are you sensing that it's generational? How much of it, take a breath in your body, are you sensing that it's societal? And then your lifetime. Breathe. Here's the key. Those things that you're not, you're trying to improve your health by putting something, whether it's nutrition, whether it's supplements, biohacking, on something that isn't you, something that's broken already. That's the problem. Can we help you remove those distortions? Breath in again. Let's pull all those out. As I'm sensing, a lot of you, your illness was a way of saving yourself. You know, when you're a kid, not the best environment around you, whoever that is. Comment in later. Not the best environment. So what do? You get ill, you get sick to hide. So you don't have to turn into them, whoever them is, right? Notice if that feels right for you. Notice where it feels. And then now you're a lot older, but you're still using those tools. That would have worked, that did work back then, but it's not working for you now. So all the details we'll go through in these hyper meditations through the 90 days. Breathe. But even now, notice all the details that are popping up for you. It's the viruses, it's the diseases, frequency-wise. Frequency viruses, frequency diseases that are attacking you. The outcome is your health. Beautiful breath in. We'll go deeper into the silence. We'll do a deep dive. Since you're getting the hang of it, you're getting that routine. Breathe. For me, helping you, it's just a programming. There's no spirituality. There's no sending love and light. You've done all that. This is about guiding you, helping you understand the coding that you need to reprogram your life. Breathe. Many of you are getting into the groove already. Even the new ones, from what I'm sensing. Let's help you remember the original health code. The instructions that was given to you when you were born. Not medical systems, not your parents, but the original form of who you were. If you'd like that installed, again, free will, it's all up to you. Take a breath in and go, yes, I want that code that'll help me remember so I can be my purest possible self, my optimal self. Breathe. And notice what you're experiencing. Some of you feeling really, really great. Some of you not so, as well, you're releasing toxins. Just like a cleanse, you release toxins. Some of you might not feel good, even after this one day. Breathe. There we go. Notice that I'm not guiding you into anything. I'm not creating visuals for you. I'm not hypnotizing you. I'm not using NLP. But notice the power. Deep breath in again. From what I'm sensing, a lot of you are actually feeling the weight, the burdens of the wealth. And that's why we started it that way. All that weight off you. It's like, gosh, I can breathe. This is where wealth starts coming in better. This is where your health returns. As your health returns, you can do wealth better. You can do relationships better. You can do spiritual connection better. Because if your body is not complete, if it's not yours, somebody else's program and genetic coding, well, you'll never feel it good. You'll never feel like yours. So as you regain that, this is where you start to age younger. This is where you start to cure yourself of the craziest diseases. Again, the key is you cure yourself. I don't do anything with that. Breathe. What could happen if you ran this frequency for the next 90 days, for the next year, for the next, well, for the rest of your life? Like I said, you don't have to believe in anything for this to work. As we end, before we meet again tomorrow, something interesting may begin happening for you, for many of you already. You may start to notice your life differently. Almost like you're observing it from a little more distance. That's the key, reference points. For some of you, like I'm feeling, that'll feel really, well, really freeing. For others, you may suddenly feel the weight of the things you've been carrying for a long, long time. Old pressures, old expectations, old patterns. So if that happens, nothing is wrong. It's just that total human reset is simply doing its job already. It's releasing what was never truly yours to carry in the first place, finally. So that process has a name. It's called evolution. How you choose to process it is entirely up to you. Some of you will feel free, some of you will cry and go, why did that have to happen? Again, that's all up to you. But the process is still there for you. Tomorrow, we're going to go deeper into how that happens. And we'll explore the two pillars most people misunderstand the most: relationships and spirituality. Because when those two stabilize, something extraordinary happens to the human system. But tonight, I just want you to ask yourself a very simple question. Not about your wealth, not about your achievements, but about your structure, your identity. If your life were a building, would the capstone be stable or would it be leaning? Slightly or off? Just waiting for that next shock, to the system. Because the moment you can see the structure clearly, like many of you are, is the moment you can start rebuilding it. And that is where a total human reset begins. Get some rest tonight. Your system is already processing the reset already.